Good morning. It's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist. And it was a week of records. Today is June 28th. Let's review the week. And let's take a look at our portfolio. Well, look at that. Up 9.2%. You know, it wasn't too long in April when we were down like 15%. We've been through it. You just hold. You don't panic. You don't sell. If you got out at Liberation Day aftermath, you are now down 25%. Wow. That's like 4 years of gains almost. Israel bombs Iran. Iran retaliates, and they got some good missiles, which I, was kind of surprised about. But I thought, well, there it is. We're going to go right into the recession and everything else. No, the war settled out right now. There's a ceasefire right now. We'll see. But there's a lot of trade options. Bessner was out there talking about essentially they got the deal in place. All they have to do is sign it and hope Grandpa doesn't mess with it and everything else. But look at this. Holy smokes. This is pretty good. We're starting to pull away, and let's take a look. NExtGen, 4.2%. Puff, puff, pass. Holy smokes. That's way above it. Now, this is the whole thing. It's good now. Let's hold on to it. Now, some people, and if you go back last 2 years, John, you're up 18%. Cash it out. We're over 30% the last 2 years, each of the years. That's the market. You can't time it. You're just in it. You're in it with the stocks. You kind of live with the stocks. We're not married to the stocks, but we are kind of like partners with these companies. We know them. We watch them, and we're going to stick with them unless something dramatically changes that we don't like negative earnings. Or something just horrible, like they lost major clients. The stuff doesn't work anymore. So everybody's looking good except for the Russell, getting up there, but it's not out there. But the NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P 500, all new records. I mean, when we broke again, the trend right up over here, that's it. Here's the previous high, straight line. It broke through that. So you could buy. When it breaks out, that's a good time to buy. And now we broke this record, and it should be good. Now, there could be some consolidation. There could be a lot of profit taken on Monday, Tuesday next week. Again, what do we look at? 2 years, getting up there. It's about, 3.74. It was up 4, so interest rates are going down, which is good for everybody. Really, the only ones benefit with the interest rates going up is the banks. Crude oil, 65. Again, when they settled that war, they were jacking that thing up to $80, and they were going to go out there and $100 oil people were talking about. Now it's 65. Natural gas, a little high for the summer. Gold didn't like all this positivity. It's down to 3,200, and silver went up at 36. Remember, it was like 35 last week. And copper over 5. 450 is our goal. It's been in the 4s forever. It's over 5. That means people are really betting on the economy. Deal with China, Europe. Growth might be there, so copper's going up. Coffee, well, it's getting cheaper, thankfully. If you think about it, it was $4 a cup. Now it's 3. That's the easy way I'd like the coffee chart, but it's good. NVDA, robotics, biggest thing. I believe it. I keep on hammering these companies I work with. You got to get this stuff automated. If I can see it, and I'm not an industrial engineer, but if you can just take routine, repetitive operations, put a robot in there for $60,000, $70,000, it'll work. But what happens is that, your people to keep up the robots are very tough to supply. There's a lot of demand for somebody who can fix the robot, program the robot, things like that. That's not going away. So anybody who's interested in job for the future, think about programming robots and learning to teach the robot. Those are things that are going to be good. The optimism of China, maybe they get the chips over there. I always believe that we will get better with competition. Just like Toyota lit up the U.S. automakers with the better quality car, having the Chinese having maybe a tier down on the chips. Give them the Grace Hoppers now. We got the Blackwells out there. Give them the Grace Hoppers. Let them go out there. Let them see what they can do everybody's worried about the defense and stuff. I says, you know, you got to look at it as technology. They will push our companies to do better. You know, because competition is in there. If you're just the only one out there and 4 or 5 of you going good, and then the Chinese light it up, you're going to say, hey, how come we can't do that? And you're going to dig, and you're going to push yourself harder. Durable goods, you know, when they said it was 16%, then I forgot it's plane, trains, and automobiles. Take out all that stuff. Transportation, still high, you know. Price index, you know, consumer, not so bad. I mean, you know, inflation is you know, like around 3%, but that's not so bad. I mean, everyone wants 2, but man, I grew up with 5, so I think 3 is fine. The trade deficit, 96 billion, which actually is not triple digits for once, so I didn't think that was so bad. Exxon Mobil, you know, I listened to Darwood's talk. You know, oil will probably be at this price for a while, which is good. He really has a problem with the EU and all the targets and carbonization and taxes on, you know, fossil fuels and stuff like that, and he thinks it's raising the cost of everything over there. So we have to sit there and think about what we're going to do in Europe, and I think they're doing good, but you know, maybe it's too green. I don't know. I mean, I believe in all the fuels, so moderation, control.
This is a reminder. Get the laundry.
Oh, I will get the laundry. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. See? I gotta get the laundry. Saturday's laundry day. Nike. Get earnings. Look at this little pop, you know. It had been going up in an uptrend, and it just hit it. It's almost over this. It broke another trend. So, you know, if you're going to buy Nike, you know, now this is probably your time to buy it. It broke out through a uptrend, came right to the wedge. It's positive. You know, you got a little bit of room. It could drop, you know, 5% next day. But, you know, it seems like it's going to be good. Again, optimism over China is good. Even though China's not a real big percentage of their, you know, products. Tesla, you know, the Europeans are just not getting the Tesla. They just don't like it. Elon just ticked them off, and, you know, his actions have consequences, and I think it's going to be slow in Europe. A lot of hope for the robo-taxi to kind of go there, but I don't know. We'll see. So Tesla's in there. Never underestimate. You know, the man is exceptionally smart and has a lot of new ideas, and, you know, like I said, I could see him getting in the drone business and lighting it up. You know, I mean, he has the ability. He knows about it. He looks at it. He talks about it. He just hasn't done anything with it. Coinbase, the best performing stock. You know, as crypto goes up from 99,000 and up, you know, people are buying Coinbase. Again, you know, Liberation Day, bottom. We have to sit there and think, what are you going to pick? You know, so it was tough. You know, we had to go in there. We didn't want to sell. We want to sell 2 to buy 1. And we, you know, like I said, we all made our choices. We're doing good. Don't complain when you're beating the S&P 500, because that is a goal, and that is the goal. QuantumScape, you know, I don't really follow the battery companies. You know, I mean, Tesla to me is one I watch a lot for battery stuff. But they liked it. They gave news. They got coming through it. But you know what? I want to see the numbers. Show me the money. Let's see what the sales are going to be like. Are we going to get this in there? Are people going to buy this? Is the back orders going to go over there quite a bit? We don't know all this stuff, so we'll take a look at it. Hold on a minute. Everything alarms going off. Walgreens, the WBA, the Women's Basketball Association. No, Walgreens Boots Alliance. Boy, you know, this was a Dow stock forever. They kick it out, and slowly it's been going up. You know, the partnership that bought it, was it? I can't remember the name of the S. Bought it, you know, a lot of stuff. I mean, but overall, a good quarter. You know, its earnings is good. They beat. Revenues are good, and you know, I really think, like I said, you know, not a bad stock to be in. You know, but we got a retailer. Walmart's a retailer, and I'd rather choose Walmart than Walgreens. Bitcoin, you know, like I said, wow, we got below 99,000 again, and people are like, oh, when's this thing going to go up to 150,000? When it feels like. That's one thing about Bitcoin. You just buy some, hold it, and just see how it goes, you know. But the other cryptocurrencies, you know, they're all kind of, you know, this is the chart, which is nice. You notice this is kind of like at the high, because, you know, we did break the high over here. But look at Solana and all these other ones, Doge. They're not there. They're not coming up. So I was thinking, if you want to buy some of these altcoins, they've not caught up to Bitcoin, and when they jump, they're going to jump fast. So just something to think about. The techs, we have 3 techs. Like I said, we used to have like 6 of them. Crazy amount of money. But like I said, the Liberation Day, we just got to pare it down because we cannot.
I don't have an answer for that.
I don't have an answer for what you're even thinking about, Alexa. So, and everybody's thinking Sherry's going to be the thing. Could be Alexa. I mean, nobody knows. But at Liberation Day, we pared it down and we stick with our kings. The NVDA chip. Obviously, Taiwan, who makes the NVIDIA chip, and ARM, who makes the processor in the Blackwell and everything else. So I just picked Fidelity, one of the tech funds and stuff, and you can see it's pretty well, all the tech is going up. Liberation low, coming up to the high. But let's look at the difference here. Who's doing well? Well, Marvell and NVIDIA. Now, Marvell, you have to start thinking about it. It's been a solid set of quarters. They're doing pretty good in the chipsets for the AI. Avogadro, but no Broadcom, not so good. I mean, it's up, but you would think the way they talk about Broadcom that it's up there like the NVIDIA 60% revenue year to year. It's 20%. It's good. Intel, boy, what can you say? Just bad. IBM, flat. So. Other ones, like I said, what's interesting is ARM's doing real well, and Taiwan's doing 30. So our lowest in tech is 35%. And like I said, Palantir, I got a lot of government contracts. They've been real buddy with the new administration, and they're picking up contracts right and left, and they do good. And don't get me wrong, they are good. You could have bought them at $15 a year ago, and now it's at $115. So, but is it really a pure tech, or is it just using contracts to make something better? I mean, there's not a Palantir product. It's like IBM's on steroids, as I said, the consulting side. ARM, no dividend. Again, pretty good. I mean, like people said, this is the V bounce, boom. And doing well, high PE, but ARM's in everything. I mean, Apple, everything. So. I like the company, I like the processor, and like I said, we're in it for a while. Taiwan, building places, going to be building in Japan, going to be building big facility, making already in the United States, and another one coming on the way. Doing well, and like I said, if they get the chance to make chips for China, that's going to be a big deal too.
This is a reminder. What's going to happen with the war? This is a reminder.
Well,
what's going to happen with the war?
Well, I tell you, I was watching Iran get bombed, and you bomb the oil fields, you're messing with Iran's money, which maybe that's the point, but they're going to remember it. And I don't know how much the bunker buster bombs did to the thing, and where is the fuel that they enriched and all this other stuff, but. Right now there's peace. That's a good thing. Ukraine, Russia's lobbing a lot of missiles, trying to kill a lot of Ukrainians. So that ain't gonna go. Maybe, my analyst talks about it's gonna probably end in the August, September, fall area. But they're just grinding the Russians down. The Russians are just killing civilians, and soldiers are grinding it. And of course, there's some soldiers losing on both sides. But boy, the Russians, I gotta believe, almost like 10-1 losses. And why? Because they're doing pickets charge across the field, get hit by the drones, get hit by the artillery, repeat, rinse, and there it is. Because you can't be the captain or the lieutenant of the Russian army and not try to do something, because then they will say you're ineffective. So you're either better off letting your people die and charge than you say, hey, I tried. Crazy. And but like I said, I was over there, and I learned to live in the bomb shelter, which doesn't have a toilet. Why don't they put a toilet in a bomb shelter? I mean, you're going to be there for hours. They said, if you want to go upstairs in the bomb area, I would, if I had to go. But that's one of the first things I started learning. You learn to go to the toilet first and then run down to the bomb shelter. I know, it's crazy. All right, look at a green. It was a green week. It's always nice when it's a green week and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm up here. Let's push me up here a little bit further. There we are. Look at the big bright green ones. Amazon we're not in, but Google we are, Meta we are, NVDA we are, Microsoft we are. Those are good. Apple kind of flat. Palantir taking a break after all the run up. Lilly is finally good. ExxonMobil, you can, part of that is that, if you're in the sector that's not doing well, you're not exactly cheery when you're getting up for the interviews because you'd like to be in the sector that's running, which would have been the week ago. The banks did good. JP Morgan up 4%. I mean, these are some big gains and stuff. So a lot of stuff positive, and but I'm more cautious. I would have rather seen a more steadier, slower climb, but that's the market. The market goes where it wants, and then who knows? We could flatline for like 5 months, and that'll be okay. Because like I said, if I end the year with 9%, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's a good year. And like I said, our goal is at least meet the S&P 500, and if you can second one and get at least 8%. But pretty good year. Let's shorter show today because I was watching. I was working a lot of hours. Like holy smokes! But let's see you next week. Got 4th of July week, so it should be a fairly calm week and stuff. So you got one more question?
This is a reminder. Lunch.
Oh, lunch. All right. Go eat lunch. Have fun. See you tomorrow.